Hello everyone, welcome to our new channel 802 Speed, where we do car content. We do car reviews, we help people that have been screwed over by dealerships. We talk about dealership, car sales, all that good stuff. So today is going to be a little longer than expected. I apologize, I still got a cold. So we've been doing reviews on dealerships, and we had somebody reach out to us that feels that they got screwed over by a local dealer. When I went and looked at the dealer is actually rated pretty good. I found little issues, 1-star issues and stuff, but nothing that really stuck out like they're truly scumbags. So I just want to note, today we're going to go through this person's information. I've already contacted the dealer. I set up a time to talk to him on Friday. So we will do a part 2 to this with the conclusion. So everything I go over today is just basically one-sided from one person. So today's sponsors for the channel is Green Mountain Mobile Blasting and Powder Coating for all your mobile blasting and powder coater needs. They're out of Johnson, Vermont. They have a mobile wet blaster, Greener Blast Technologies system that uses water and abrasive to keep the air pollution down. Also eco-friendly media. They can do anything: boats, vehicles, log cabins, painted walls, you name it, it pretty much can be blasted. So that's the sponsors of the channel. So let me give you a quick rundown of what we're looking at, and then we'll go over some of the paperwork because I have all the paperwork. So we're looking at, I got to figure out the right wording because some people get so emotional with certain wording. So mentally disabled person who cannot read or write. They ended up saving up their money. They didn't have a home. They used to live in the woods in a tent. 2 or 3 times a week, they'd walk to the neighboring town for food, for the food bank and things like that. Almost 10 miles. And this is year round. Up here in Vermont, our winters are half the year and they can get 30 below. So you're talking to a neighboring town, I'd say 5 miles, a couple, 2-3 hours each way, unless you walk fast, of course. So he saved up his money. He was able to afford a second-hand vehicle. He got the second-hand vehicle, had it a little while, and something broke on it and he couldn't figure it out. We got a review here that kind of explains it, which I'll go through this before I go through the paperwork, and bear with me on the review because you know how I am with small writing. So he took it to a dealership, a local dealership, Lamoille Valley Chevy in High Park, Vermont, and by what he says, they told him that they could not fix it and it will not pass inspection. So basically he's screwed. But they told him that they could get him into a new truck, which was $40,000. It was a 2018 Chevy Silverado. This all happened October 2022. They could get him into a new truck for $40,000 and work with him on monthly payments. He said, yes, of course. I mean, you wave a shiny new vehicle in front of somebody that's never had something like that, they're gonna do whatever they can to get into it. He's on disability. He gets at the time he got $1,080 a month for disability. They talked to him. His credit, apparently he had good credit, but he had no substantialness to his credit. So if you don't have good or bad credit, or you have good credit but you don't have a work history, you can still have good credit, but you can't get a loan because you have nothing back in that credit. You can also work at a 7-Eleven and work here 5-6 years as part-time. And as long as you don't screw your credit, you can have a substantial credit with good numbers. So he had good credit, just with no back in history because, of course, he has SSDI, Social Security, disability, something. So he got his son. His son, I believe, was working part-time at a gas station at that time. And I don't believe he's working at this time, the last time I talked to this person. Let's call this person Travis, just so I have a name. I know, I just got to remember it's Travis. Last time I talked to Travis, his son wasn't working. So, his son is not used to buying new vehicles either. I think it was minimum wage, part-time person. So he's not used to all the paperwork and what to look for and what everything means. So all said and done, we'll go over the paperwork in a little bit. So all said and done, $900 a month. He did tell them that they would knock $5,000 off, and of course all you guys know how that goes. They'd knock $5,000 off, so it'd be $35,000 instead of $4,000. So when I ended up talking to Travis, he said, oh no, I bought the truck for $35,000, and I went over his paperwork, and you'll see what happened. So, but to this day, until I told him, he thought thought he got a good deal and bought it for $35,000. So $900 for a truck, insurance $147, left him with $67 a month for living. So when I talked to Travis, I think I talked to him last week, he lives out of his truck. He's lived out of his truck since he got the loan because he can't afford to get into any place. He can't afford, he went to some of these local places that help low income, Capstone and things like that, because he owns a vehicle which is so highly priced and he's using all of his money. They will not assist him with housing or anything like that. But of course, with his thought process, let's say it that way, with his thought process, he don't want to give up his truck because that's his home. So I even tried talking him into, like, let's give up your truck, get into something littler. And the fear of being out in the woods, unprotected, losing a home is just not gonna work with him. Like, he just can't. He has blinders on and he has to be in this truck. So $67 a month basically gets him gas in the beginning of the month. He tries to conserve it. He usually runs out of gas, he says, after the first week. And then for the other 3 weeks, he's in this truck just bundled up in blankets and can't go anywhere because he has no fuel. So not a good situation. So my issue when I read this was that the Lamoille Valley Chevrolet did his payment well outside his means, meaning I have gone and bought new vehicles and they looked at my how much do I make, how much do I pay for housing, how much do I pay for this, how much do I pay for that, can I afford this on top of that, and if it doesn't hit a certain percentage, I can't get a loan. This hits like 98% of his income, so it blows my mind how he got a loan. But again, until I talk to the dealership on Friday, which I do have an appointment, we're going off the information we have. So let's get into some of the stuff. We will go over first the review that I ended up getting. And of course, remember, this shit is so small, but I will try to be a little faster with it. I am writing this review because Lamoille Valley Chevrolet in High Park, Vermont did the most heinous, manipulative, unethical business practice of my mentally disabled cousin. Years ago, LUHS, must be a high school, graduated him without being able to read or write. He's not had a great life, but still has the biggest heart and will help anyone he can. My cousin is on SSDI and gets $1,080 a month for rent, food, everything. He walks everywhere and all weather for years. He saved for years to finally have enough to buy a little truck, a little used truck. The truck had a problem and no one was able to figure it out. I suggested he go to Lamoille Valley Chevrolet so that they could figure it out what was wrong. At least if they fixed it, it would be guaranteed. He went with his son. He called me while he was there and was so excited because they were letting him buy a $40,000 truck. How was that possible? He was on SSDI and his son only had a part-time job. I told him I would be there right away and not to sign anything. He asked me not to go because he knew I would stop the deal. They also told him his little truck was junk and would not pass Vermont inspection. We deal with a lot of salt here, and after a vehicle is 5 years, you have to usually replace rocker panels and stuff. So if a truck's a few years old, it can get out of inspection pretty fast. They ended up fixing and selling the old truck anyways. So after they told him it was junk and sold him a truck, they fixed it up and sold it. Now my dear cousin is homeless, living in a truck. He can't get housing because the truck is too valuable. His payments and insurance are $1,027. He has $53 for gas, food, housing. In my opinion, Lamoille Valley Chevy has committed a crime against a vulnerable individual. How could this be legal? How can they do this? They completely manipulated his emotional state, clearly knowing he didn't have the skills to process they didn't have the skills to process the ruin this would have on his life. You can't show someone with limited capacity a fancy truck and tell them it could be theirs, but they did. His son is no longer working, but Lamoille Valley Chevrolet let him get a loan for, here's some numbers, for $40,000, $763, which when I talked to Travis, it was $35,000. He thought he had $5,000 off, but we'll go over that. So the loan was for $40,763 for a Chevy, or for the truck, and 17.5 financing. That added another $25,842 to the truck. And with the add-ons, it came to a total of $69,459. So Travis, when I talked to him, thought it was a $35,000 truck. In the end, it ended up being a $70,000 truck, which you can get brand new trucks. You can get new trucks less than that. This is only a 1500, so you can get a new 1500 less than that, not one with 50,000 miles on it in 2018. That is so wrong. Of course, my cousin won't consider giving up his truck. It's his home now. These people at Lamoille Valley Chevy prey on the vulnerable. I do not believe he is their first victim. The vulnerable don't often complain, and if they do, they're most likely not heard. These people suck. At this time, we have contacted the Vermont's Attorney General, the Vermont Consumer Protection Program, and the Vermont Disability Law Program by Stella McLoy or whatever. Yes, I've been a part of this with helping them at this part, so I can go over some of this and explain. So I will pop up some of the paperwork that I'm looking at. So it was a 2018 Chevy Silverado 8-cylinder. So they told him basically they'd give him it for $35,950. Total taxes $2,119. Doc fee $499, which doc fee for $499 is fine. Liberty Shield $4,200. Liberty Shield, I actually contacted Liberty Shield, and they have the purchase price of the truck is $35,950 for a $4,200 purchase price, service price. So it's a service contract. So it's basically the same as extended warranty. I think 42 is awful high, but I'm not 100% sure on that. The weird thing, it says owner's phone and owner's email is not Travis's. Travis has no clue whose it is. I did try calling the phone number and was not able to get hold of anybody at that phone number. I have not tried sending an email yet. So the Liberty Shield contract, I did ask Travis, do you have an extended warranty? And he's like, I don't. Of course he doesn't know. So this warranty and the Shield is like 12 pieces of paper. The email that was sent was not his. So basically they had him sign the main sheet and sent the paperwork to who knows. Travis don't know the number. Maybe the guy, when I talked to him, the general manager at the dealership will know who it is. But at this point in time, we have no idea where the paperwork went to after he signed the contract. So we figured out Liberty Shield for the $4,200 was, I think it's considered like an extended warranty. So that's fine. But with Travis not knowing it, it's not fine. So they traded in Travis's truck, $1,220. And then he did a down payment of $1,650. That brings his total to $2,870 for what he put down between the trade-in. So with that, transfer fee $25, title fee $46, taxes due $2,113, which is all normal. And like I said, when I went over this, not too much stuck out on the paperwork that was literally wrong. This $4,200, which he didn't know he had an extended warranty. He thought he had actual normal warranty. That can go one way or the other. The dealer can say, yes, we told it to him, and Travis just isn't able to understand it. So I'm not going to fault the dealer for that. You can't fault the dealer for that. The other stuff looks normal. It doesn't look like anything bad has been put in here. So my issue with this whole thing is this right here. So telling him he's getting it for $35,000 with everything, it's up to $40,763. Financing it at 17.5% adds another $25,824 onto it. The total price, the total cost of the purchase, along with the credits, including the down payment of $2,870, which was his down payment and his trade-in. The total price of the truck came to $69,458.48. So I'm not going to a dealership to deal with add-ons. I'm going to a dealership because they put him so far outside of his means that he's homeless. And that without him understanding this, or with him having his son there, which doesn't understand this paperwork. And I know they're going to say, well, we told him it all. But it's his word against Travis's. And then on top of that, if Travis doesn't understand what you're saying and all you're telling him, all he understands is, this is a $40,000 truck. I'm getting it for $30,000 and it's within my SSDI. I can afford it within my SSDI. That's all he understands. He doesn't understand the repercussions of having $53 or $67 left over a month. I'm going in there with that. My whole intention of going in there is to get this dropped down somehow. I don't care how, but we have to get it below 600. Because if we can get it below 600, and then you add his $150 for his insurance onto it, it puts him at $750, which gives him money for food, money for fuel, things like that. So again, the dealership has a good reputation. My only issue is, how can you put somebody in to a $900 payment, $150 insurance, when they make $1,080? Like, I can't see how you can. So I'm looking at, we're going to be talking to the dealership. They did do gap insurance. Gap insurance is $800. On one of the paperwork, it's kind of weird because they have gap insurance as $4,200. But I think that was just a mistake, because I see another spot where it has gap insurance for $800 and then $42 for the G insurance, which EG insurance, which is gap insurance. So I think I was just misplaced. But on his gap waiver, APR 17.5%, DVT limit 150%. Like, yeah, I honestly we'll get close to stopping here, because I think you guys get the point of what I'm getting at. It's just not right. But what we are gonna do is, I've already talked to consumer Attorney General Consumer Assistance Program. So my first step is to talk to the dealership. I'm not trying to get this truck for free. I'm not trying to get it, them to give it to them or anything like that. I understand they have to make a living. It was a vehicle. I think they bent him over on the 17.5 APR, and I think they gave it to him hard there. And I don't think they explained the consequences to him. And again, you don't know what was said. I mean, he could have told him he was a millionaire and they could have went off that. But still, if you were around this person, really nice guy, you would, something's off. Something's off. A car dealer reads people. And I feel that the person who sold this vehicle to him, didn't do justice. And I know that some car dealerships, and this is where I kind of hate the idea, some car dealerships don't have to know your price. They don't have to know, okay, you have an income of this. They can go by your word. You don't have to show proof. And then if the insurer don't ask you to show proof, they're selling you a car off your word. My issue is, nowadays, not many people want proof because they need to move these cars. So, so let me go over this. So if somebody lives in Vermont, and you can reach out to me and I can assist you with some of this stuff and see if it's something that you have a leg to stand on, as long as you have your original paperwork that we can look over. But once I talk to a dealer, if we can't come to an agreement on something, the next step, contact the Attorney General Assistance Program and the office, provide a letter of mediation services and consumers with the complaints against businesses. So your first step, send these guys the letter at the Attorney General Consumer Assistance Program. Okay. A lot of dealerships in Vermont are part of an AutoCap group, which is called VADA, VADA, Auto Consumer Action Program, and that's called AutoCap. Okay. This is from the Attorney General. Once our complaint is received, we'll log your complaint into the public records and send a copy to the Vermont Vehicle and Automotive Distributor Association, VADA. Because the business name in our complaint is a VADA member, complaints regarding VADA members are reviewed by VADA and may be brought before the Auto Consumer Assistance Program panel. This panel is comprised of both dealers and consumer representatives and works to resolve complaints between dealers and consumers. This process is referred to as AutoCap. So we got multiple steps. We send it to VADA. If VADA does not agree with us, we can appeal it and go in front of a panel of 6 members, for 3 consumers and 3 AutoCap, and state our case. I think we have a pretty good case, because everything's he said, she said, and once you work down to the brass taxes of, this guy makes a little over $1,000, you put him into a vehicle that he's paying a little over $1,000, like, you can't do that. Also, this would give him an extremely bad name, having this out in the public, which, if we fight it and we lose, we'll run with it. we will blast it on social media. We will do whatever we need to do with this. So yeah, so we have a meeting with them on Friday, so we will put out another part 2 to this either Friday or Saturday, so you guys know what actually happened. And again, this dealer, by what I'm seeing, has a good reputation, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm hoping when I talk to the general manager, he'll be like, yes, this was said on Travis's part, this was done, but you know what, let's work together. And some dealerships do that. I'm dealing with a dealership, Goss Dodge in Shelburne, and they're working with me on another thing, which I'll do another video on. And that could have turned out awful. That could have sucked. And their GM is working with me and has went above and beyond. So we will do a video on Goss Dodge here, probably in the next week or two. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, you're around Vermont, New Hampshire, right in that area, have any questions because you feel like you got hosed, reach out to us on our email. Should be down in the descriptions, v802speed@gmail.com. Also, if you like this kind of content, some of the people that we watch, Ritually, which are some awesome channels, they're also down in the description. We will see you on part 2 and figure out how this turned out.